Hello and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Shadow Empire in the Oceania DLC here on our Hard Artica class, difficulty world. We're around 193. Where we left off last time, we were at war with the other major. Victory point wise, we're getting pretty close to winning. We actually have enough victory score that we could, in theory, win at this point. If we just get 25 victory score more than number 2. Right now we're at 15, so there's basically two ways for us to win. Either we can drive them down, or we can drive ourselves up. In practice, it's probably going to be a combination of the two, because to drive them down, we need to get their victory score to go to someone else. And they're not at war with number 3, so it goes to us. So some variation on us taking from them and destroying their score is what needs to go on to win. We're in pretty good standing to winning. At this point, the war sort of devolves into 4 fronts. We've got the northeast, which is going really well. We took their major city here. In fact, we captured the airfield here, so we've been able to move our air force forward, which should help us drive back more forces in that area as the air force comes down heavy on them in that area. We've then got the southeast. Again, they don't really have the troops down here to stop us, so they're sort of in a general retreat as we are in sort of a general chase. Southwest, we weren't really expecting to be able to win over here. We were expecting our guys to hold firm. They're kind of having the same sort of problems they're having on other fronts, where their position's starting to fall apart and they're trying to withdraw. We're less in a position here where we can probably capitalize on that, though we may capture and destroy some units as they withdraw. They also probably have enough guys down here that they could quite possibly form a proper battle line at some point, and then this front will become static. But this front is performing a lot better than I was expecting it to. The front that is probably going the worst is the northwest up here. As you can kind of see from our troops, we have detected 2 airfields that have been carrying out airstrikes on our troops, and there is quite a lot of armor here. In practice, we have our own airfield, so it's sort of my mostly infantry force and their decisively tank force. It's not necessarily overwhelming tank force. Are duking it out in the middle as both our air forces are just out of range of being able to strike each other, but can happily strike the troops in the middle. So we've been chewing up each other's aligned troops. In practice, this has meant it's a pretty slow and grinding front for me, where units are dying. Units are dying back and forth on both sides as our air forces lay the poundage on each other. It isn't completely static. We have a slight movement advantage here. The question is whether or not that will continue. Opinion-wise, we have improved opinion with the people we're at war with. So there is the potential in future turns for us to negotiate a ceasefire if stuff starts to turn against us. At the moment, I don't think we necessarily need to. At the same time, we have inspired a rebellion in their rear near their capital. This may be one reason why we're performing quite so well, is instead of reinforcements showing up the front line to shore up vulnerabilities, they're getting tasked to deal with the rebellion. Which is also probably one of the reasons I don't necessarily want to negotiate a peace right now, is because negotiating a ceasefire is probably dooming the rebels. And we kind of want the rebels to actually get better. That's one way we can win, is again, we need to get 25% better than them. We're about 15% better than them. If the rebels start taking major objectives, the rebels will become another faction, and that will steal a lot of score away from them. And that's kind of what we want. Right now, the rebels aren't really worth anything. They've got a little bit of territory, and it's pretty big, and they don't have it under control. It's another thing. So that's the situation that continue to get worse for them. And yeah, it's undermining the reinforcements of their reinforcements to our stuff. So before we go ahead and roll the turn, usually like we did in most parts, we try to do most of the turn before we end the stream, because usually I try to end a part on the beginning of a turn, before we open up the turn and see how the turn looks. On stream ends, I need to come in here and go into preferences and hit save game. So we're at the end of a turn instead. I also tend to take the beginning of this to do a review on things. I'm noticing we're starting with supply issues down here, as we're trying to get too far away from our supply bases. We are just outside of a city. We'll probably see if we can dash to that city in the next turn, and set that up as a rail/road hub, instead of trying to build one between two cities. Also, I'm thinking here we have some logistical assets. It may be worth, and I'm going to go ahead and do it, expanding the construction of both of those.
Roger that, sir.
Otherwise, don't think I've drafted anyone, but we'll see on the next turn if I drafted anyone in, or asked for volunteers in the last turn. Actually, that would be in... This is a stratagem overview. Decision archive. Okay, so I've played volunteer drive, so we're going to be, in theory, getting more personnel for next turn. Looking at my NP personnel, it's like, okay, we probably want more for refreshing deleted units, sending up new ones, but we've got them coming next turn, so there's nothing else to do. So yeah, with that, let's cycle the turn. We'll see how the enemy responds to our current positions, and then continue our pushes on most of the fronts. One thing that is notable is we are going through a lot of bullets. Bombers and machine guns and such are pretty ammo hungry when they get going. Units moving. In a lot of cases, it looks like pulling back to try to shore up their line position, instead of losing encirclements. Counterattack by the tanks trying to break out. That isn't the vector I would have used. And here comes the airstrikes. There's an airstrike. Absolutely plasters that unit. I think that unit's about to get destroyed. Yeah, it's down to 100 grunts. The bombers completely wipe it out. Bombers don't even let the infantry come into it. Bomber strike again. Yeah, and that's the concern in that flank up there, is the weight of the bombers can, if they focus on the target, completely delete a field unit every turn. There we go. So we lost a lot of infantry. We killed a tank, we killed a little bit of infantry. A lot of the destruction we're doing is actually on our turns, usually here. 194. Another gravitonic collector. Shut the power. I'm not going to mess with the national budget.
Yes, sir.
Favoring research in eco. Favoring research in the Air Force. Model design will come back to. I'm thinking we might try to improve the
Order acknowledged.
Fighter bombers. See if we can get their range up. So what is the current range on our fighter bombers? Current fighter bombers are rocking... I want to see their stats, thank you. There we go. Range of 12 hexes. We can see this in blueprints, to make a new version of them. Yeah, changing nothing. They'd already be up to 16 hexes. Okay. If we change some stuff on them, can we make them longer ranged? That's the question. Nope, looks like the best we're going to get is, with the current design, 16 hexes, which is probably fine. That should work. So we can basically get a 4 hex range upgrade on these guys. by redesigning them right now. Due to improvements in air tech. Let's let's look at tech quickly. So I think that's our jet engine efficiency kicking in. We got 50% jet engine efficiency. And then what's our aerodynamics? Aerodynamics is 59 as well. Yeah, we just hit 50%. Let's call you up and change what you're researching. Do aircraft design.
Copy that.
That just makes aircraft, I think, better at fighting, not necessarily better at range. And yeah, we should just be able to come in here and say, medium aircraft, 1 engine, using the same settings, go ahead and build upon the Trailblazer with an expectation that will be 16x range when it's done. And that will basically be the upgrade on the fighter bombers we're using over here. And with that range, they should actually be able to hit the airfield over there, which may make a decisive change in the fighting. And there is our anti-tank gun on its way. Let's see if it arrives in time to deal with the heavy tanks. Obviously the guys that we had here, this one's broken out. These ones might not be able to break out. We'll see. Okay, so short up the line that way. 30th is arriving, 12th is in position. Doesn't look like too bad of a position. This area got hammered, but otherwise are holding. What's the expedition we're getting here? We attack 4 ways in 2v1. I think that's a bad idea. Push forward, apply pressure, try to encourage them to push us back if we can. Okay, so that city hex is in fact not controlled by them. So that is where we're gonna want to have logistics on the hex. We'll see on the next turn if we have logistics on the hex. The plan, I think, there is to upgrade that as a new logistical hub. At the moment, that means we've functionally actually secured these guys as supply lines, so we'll see how they responded to being cut off. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do in the southwest, even though we're, in theory, receiving a little bit of help from the northwest over in that fight. Let's advance. These guys are previously had an encirclement, so they're sort of spreading back out after the encirclement. Kind of rushing off down the road. Maybe some indications that we're too far away from the last asset, which happens to be a supply base, so that's quite believable. Traffic signs, where do we... About here. Okay, so here-ish is probably where we need to slap another track station down. Otherwise, these guys are going to run into pretty severe logistical issues over the next couple turns. between the 10th and the 28th here. Pursue crawling enemies. As well as just sort of generally push the front line forward. Okay. And we got the 33rd and the 24th here, splaying out. Now they've come through that little pass. And again, this is kind of endangering the guys down here, which is probably one of the reasons they're falling back and not trying to resist. Because we've already got one of their roads. The AI can probably road around it if they're desperate to keep control, or supply with control. And then over here, are we in the position to attempt to complete this encirclement? Yes, but it's going to be real tight, I think. Okay, so they're going to be able to... We've cut their supplies. They're going to be able to break out again. That's my immediate guess based on how the position looks.
Engaging enemy.
Yeah, that allows us to shorten the front line a little bit. Not necessarily able enough to free any guys up, but that may help in the next turn for freeing up some guys. Need some infantry, maybe 4v, no, not good enough odds there for what I want to do. Okay, that guy's functionally in circle. You around. Now we'll leave you on the asset, I think. Is that an unprotected city? That is an unprotected city. Once again, taking a important node in the enemy's area. That is someplace we're probably going to want a rail connection to. We don't control the rail connection or the space through here. Can run it up from here, I suppose. Not going to be able to run the entire distance, but we can get the rail most of the way up. Okay, and then let's see if we can get the recon plane to provide some reconnaissance here. Air recon. Say recon there.
Birds are in the sky.
Not necessarily going for a strike, but trying to understand where the enemy subunits are. Okay. So it looks like there's two sets of tanks. Let's send the fighter bomber, not air bridge, air attack. Fighter bomber and the fighter. One of the fighters and one of the fighter bombers after this tank. Darn, no successful destruction. It's probably lost all the readiness because we forced it to withdraw. And then we'll strike the other one as well with the other sets of bombers. Fighter bombers. Okay, probably damage their readiness, but no luck on hits. We do actually still have the capacity to carry out another airstrike. So we'll attempt here. They got a shortage range. Okay, second wave in. Manages to get that tank from that encirclement. Okay, so that's probably a position where our guys can carry out a successful attack on the encirclement. Is that artillery? Yeah. This is a couple of infantry. So I'm tempted just to push in the tank, the artillery, and the armored cars. Yeah. Try to push these guys out. Get them to surrender. Then the less mobile guys can keep advancing. There we go. Try to go out around the bottom there. Or through the middle, as it looks like. Okay. Because of the residual zone of control, we're not quite in a position where we can get these guys to truly move. We do have a little bit of artillery support here. With the artillery support, we can probably get this guy to surrender.
Go, go, go!
Then he won't be in the way for the next turn.
Easy.
There we go. Okay, so not a lot of advancing up here. We have destroyed one of the major armored units blocking the path. And the second one here, we already demoralized once with a couple airstrikes, so I don't think it will be attacking. May attempt to withdraw. To be fair, the guys up here, because we've actually seized the road hub in the local area, are probably out of supply. So we'll see how effective that withdrawal is. Okay. Southwest, southeast, northeast. Now we're on to the front where everything is going pear-shaped. The northwest. Okay, we got our replacement infantry. Keep up some of the replacement MGs. Transport, we got missing transport. Missing an anti-tank gun. Oops, we don't need 45 of those. That would be a problem. And we went through 13,000 ammunition. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pull in some more ammo. And yeah, we got driven back from truly threatening that city. Is that light armor? That is light armor. I don't want to go apply pressure. It's infantry. The light armor here is not well positioned for the anti-tank to handle it. Probably push it north, trying to get into position. I'm thinking we want to shuffle the line. Try to tighten up the line front. We'll give up the hex there just because Don't think we have the personnel to properly cover it. These guys are holding pretty steady. Let's attempt an attack on the tank with the anti-tank gun.
Advancing.
As one might imagine, the anti-tank gun is at least scary to tanks. Okay, so we did rout the tank. It didn't do any real damage. So now the question is, let's follow up with the reconnaissance. Air recon. Actually, apparently air recon doesn't really have enough readiness. Probably because it's been intercepted a couple times. We'll not do any air recon this turn. The fighter bombers, on the other hand, are probably got the range. And apparently the fighters, not the fighter bombers, but the fighters do have the range to carry out airstrikes on the airfield. So we could send them in to damage the airfield. So let's carry out an attack run on the airfield. It was the airfield. Due to poor reconnaissance, we managed not to find any targets and wasted much ammo. In theory, we probably did some damage to... Yeah, we did some damage to the airfield. So they shot the airfield up. That's basically what happened. Not exactly what I would have liked, but would have preferred to get some bombers on the ground. Okay, the next concept is, do we hit the tanks? I think the answer is yes. Got 2 batches of tanks there. Let's hit those light tanks. I'm gonna break up the next attack coming in. Before it comes in, hopefully.
On the way. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Got one. Not particularly great use of ammunition, but could be worse. But while we're at it, let's go ahead and raise the missing unit. We know we had a couple units destroyed over the last couple turns. And then check, yeah, that did take from my reserves here. It looks like it just took... Oh, did we have the RPGs to support that? Maybe we did. Or maybe it built it if we had them missing. Let's go ahead and queue up the replacements. That's full, that's full, that's full. That's good. Tank guns are good. Okay. Another thing I'm tempted is to try to build up a motorized unit. Come out here and provide some motorized support, essentially for encircling around, and or raising.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Some AA to push up to the front to help protect the area. So let's we've apparently got the manpower. Probably want to be just a motorized guy, right? We have motorized siege. That might work the way I wanted it to. Probably would ideally want motorized grenadiers. Oh, and we can't afford that. What are we short on? Items, obviously. Oh, that costs like 33. What size are we on? Or core size. Don't bring core size of that type. Okay. Much better. OHQ, brigade size. Now we're being presented with saying it's about 100%. Okay, that makes more sense. And don't take the replenishment troops because we need them for other units. And yeah, we should be able to raise 1 brigade of motorized light infantry. And then we'll raise a couple independent units of AA if we can. Flak Not so well with the motorized flak, apparently. What's the problem there? Personnel. Oh, we're out of metal. Okay, so that's where we're gonna have to stop on construction. Right through all the metal. That does make sense. Okay. Victory-wise, we're up to 52, so we're up to basically 17. So it was about a 17 delta off of them, so it was about 2 points actually over that turn. Completed the high command, so that'll be done. When a new truck station we started up. Volcanic energy plants is proceeding at speed. One of the procurement offices got delayed, but that's fine. And the truck station, rail station, up here, got a little delayed. But I think everything else is looking pretty good. Political power-wise, what's your opinion? Did you go up or you go down? Okay, so it's staying stable at 25 where we left it. How does proposed peace look? We're not going to propose it because we think we're still winning, but we want to know what ground we stand on in case that changes. And the answer right now is there's only a 4% chance of failure. So if we wanted to get peace, we could have peace. And then otherwise, what is the plausibility of doing some spy actions? Wouldn't be opposed to growing the rebellion. Still got 2 spies in the area. Let's try to put some more out there.
Roger that, sir. Yes, sir. Roger that,
Okay.
sir.
In the area where the rebellion is, we got them back up to 14 spies. Cold Rebellion 2. Base roll, we have no chance of success, in theory, because the maximum roll is 200 and the difficulty is 222. In the past, we've noticed that this difficulty to this roll doesn't line up. I suspect this is not including secret information that affects the roll. Because there's some things like the target regime's inverse autocracy profile in there that isn't stuff that might not be known to us, right? So there might be some things affecting the roll that are known to us. But this is in the range where if we go ahead and place Shadow Spies on the Director of Secret Service.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Even without the hidden math stuff, we are in success range. It's not a good success range, it's like 19% chance. That's worth rolling.
Yes, sir. Roger
We
that,
roll,
sir.
and as you can see, we shouldn't be able to roll a 271 off of a D100 plus 140. Again, I think there's some hidden numbers in there that we're not getting told. That's allowing us to roll higher. But because of that, we managed to get another 11,100 population to defect to the rebels. So the rebels are even more powerful. I suspect the hidden information is we probably don't know what the unrest in the city is. So we're getting a bonus due to unrest. Part of which we're inspiring, so we're making it more likely to succeed every time we succeed. And then while we're at it, we still have money, we still have political power, so let's try to encourage more people to move to our country the illicit way. And we do want to keep offsetting the money, so we'll go ahead and sell some high-tech parts. And I think that's where we're going to go for the turn. So let's roll the turn, let's see how the advancing goes for the enemy. We'll try to get one more turn in for this part. I think most of the heavy tanks that we've got sort of caught in the encirclement are not escaping at this point. I think last turn was probably their last realistic escape possibility. So they've probably run out, or run low on fuel trying to run away. Heavy tanks aren't necessarily known for, you know, agile movement. attacking to break out of the encirclement, and they failed. Granted, the pocket isn't tight enough, so they failed to break out through the unit, but they managed to just go around. Air attack. Air attack again. They attack the place that had been air attacked, and what do you guess? If it's been pounded enough with bombers, it doesn't hold and runs off. Round 195. Again, this is not really a kill-to-death ratio that is very favorable on our defense turn. A lot of that's coming from the strength of the enemy bombers to pound us hard. We got into the zone. I didn't think we were taking the right two zones. Because right here, and I suppose the one down here might not actually have been in a city. No, it's not a city. We acquired one of the enemy's mines in the area. Okay. And yes, you can see how the AI responded to us taking a main roadways. They just built a... Honestly, didn't build out far enough away from the advancing troops to not have us just retake the road, but... Well, we retake the road. That's just what we do there. Decision-wise, new advisor. This is an advisor role. I don't really care. Just to appoint someone to it. We'd grab a tank destroyer. So we obviously developed our plane. Let's actually bounce back. Do the same for the recon plane. Not sure if we're going to be able to design a better one per se, other than just having more range on the default one because of the aerodynamic improvements. So the current one is pulling a range, operational range of 12 hexes. If we take the existing one, which is an ultralight one, we are finding that they are getting into combat. So it may make sense to go ahead and chuck a gun on it, just to defend it. Okay, so if we chuck the gun on it, we're getting about the... Oh, no, we can get the range back up. So that's 14 with a gun. Yeah, 14 with a gun. So this one will be able to, in theory, defend itself while doing reconnaissance runs in case it gets airstruck or counter-struck by air superiority fighters, which we have had them run into a couple times. So let's roll with that as the air upgrade. Next round of upgrade. So from 12 hexes to 14 hexes, it's not as much of a range improvement, but we're also giving it guns so it can defend itself. Point a governor. Let's see if we can get a better governor for you. Senior, civilian. We'll give you a senior. Well, we'll roll the senior. See if that's a... Yeah, that's just a better guy. Not particularly... Well, I was about to say not particularly great cap, but capacity 3 is fine. So he's even someone who'll grow a little bit into the job. New commander for the 34th Motorized. Yeah, you can have that job.
Order acknowledged.
I hope the bombers do not get you. Okay. Our AT asset is on its way in. At this rate, it's not going to arrive before the party's over, but, you know.
Move out. All clear, sir.
Yeah, I think they've run out of steam here. So This is not an anti-tank asset with enough armor penetration, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think it's going to be effective enough.
All clear, sir.
Bring the anti-tank asset and pop the heavy tank. There we go. Heavy tanks that were still in the encirclement have fallen. Okay, so there we got a pretty tight line. In fact, we're about to have some surplus guys once we clear out the west side of this. And they don't necessarily, so we can start to threaten them with encirclements. And they're pulling back here again because we're threatening their supply lines. That makes a lot of sense. Their response is very logical.
Engage the enemy.
Taking advantage of the fact that the guy doesn't have an entrenchment.
Mission accomplished.
Oof. 5 subunits lost. Okay, so that is southwest. Actually, what was the victory points before we started this advance? We swung the delta a little bit more. Not sure if we're up or they're down. We're 19? Oh, 19 points above them. Okay, so we're definitely making some progress there. And yeah, definitely undermining their position as well. Can we... not quite... So the question there was sort of, can we get a link up between these two? The answer is no, not quite yet. But we're getting pretty close. To the degree that we own that road previously, go ahead and seal the road. Our logistics moving forward. We should do the same over here. Then over here. We started that asset, didn't finish that asset, so we don't have that action point buff yet. Yeah, some significant advancing there. These poor guys are encircled. We will need to try to do a break into them, if at all possible. That's all the force we can get for the break-in.
Engage the enemy.
Enemy armor does break. Okay, and I think with that, we have encircled this pocket.
Let's go.
Question is, how aggressive do I be at trying to close it?
Operation
And
successful.
that's maybe a sign that we should give them a little bit more time to stew in that pocket. Got banged up a little bit more than I would have liked in that advance.
Yes, sir. We're going in. Mission successful.
Still got this unit trying to get a position in the front line that isn't already taken by another unit. Yeah, so here's another situation where the enemy, due to not wanting to give up territory, sort of torpedoed themselves into an encirclement. This unit will just sort of, over the next couple turns, be able to slide southeast here. And I doubt the tank down here, for example, is going to be able to make the run for it when the time comes. Okay, we have one tank in the area. I think the rest of this is an infantry force. So let's go ahead and send the recon out to try to get us some info on the status of the guys in their rear.
Birds are in the sky.
Yeah. So there's at least an AT back there. So let's go ahead and focus the air attack on simply giving that one tank a real bad day.
Off the way.
Done. That tank had a real bad day. It was one tank.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Don't think... Oh no, we do have enough action points for follow-up strike on something else. So let's soften what looks to be the most... Oh, only one of them has enough action points for the follow-up strike. Go ahead and try to soften up one of the infantry units.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Okay, don't think at this point, I don't think there's any tanks in the area. So let's actually start moving the tanks out. And maybe go and attach them to a different HQ so they can be a little bit more useful. So we kind of don't need them over here at the moment. The artillery will still be useful, so we want to keep the artillery around. Exposed artillery.
All clear, sir.
Not enough action, or apparently not aggressive enough to actually get the artillery destroyed. Bit of a shame. Oh, that was the anti-tank. We should do the same with the other one. Go and attach this command and send it to where the tanks are. Which right now we got tanks down here. So getting this involved when this pocket forms to crush the tanks will probably be a good idea. rail to there. And we're going to want to rail head. Hopefully we can get there one next turn. We probably don't have any logistics on here because I don't think the trucks are reliably getting out here. That's probably what's happening. So some city pull points. Oh yeah, we've outrun the trucks. That's fully believable. I believe that's a reality that's happening there. That makes sense. We've only just secured this road, right? So we'll see. Actually, yeah, with that road secured, we should be getting trucks through next turn. Whether they get all the way to that city is a different question. The poor 7th is trying to run. Well, we pulled them off the south because they were already excess down the south. See if the 7th can actually get back into the action, or if the action is going to run away from them quicker than catch up. So, southwest, southeast, northeast, all complete. Now to the front, that still appears to be a challenge. So air reconnaissance. Readiness is improved. But we don't have strike range, or we don't have reconnaissance range to actually recon the airfield. So we're not going to recon the airfield, we're going to recon the tanks.
Birds are in the sky. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
And then we can follow up with an air attack from the strike craft. And with the better reconnaissance here, we should pair those tanks up much better. And unlike them, who have been mostly running level bombers, we're running fighter bombers, which you can see don't mess around when they get into dogfights with their enemy fighter squadrons. We actually managed to fight one of the enemy fighter squadrons down. So didn't get as much damage on the tanks as I would have liked, but we did manage to shoot up one of the enemy combat air patrol they have out to try to stop us from doing what we want. So the trade-offs: get what you want, or get some fighters. And we got some fighters instead. Yeah, I think this might be worth trying to use the motorized here to push to the airfield. The airfield wasn't particularly well protected the last time we got next to it. In the meantime, we do need to try to shore up the line, which is probably going to be mainly drawing back in most places, except maybe in the bomb line. Looks the bomb line's pretty good position to potentially be aggressive. Or at least threaten to be aggressive. And then we know we've already shot up these tanks, so their readiness has got to be pretty bad. I say, as our guys get torn up going in. That wasn't the best attacks.
Get out!
We traded 3 for 3. Well, if we had better logistics than the enemy, that would not have been a bad trade. I don't think we lost any units. No, we still got full. All the sub-units are out there. Well, except for the ones that are currently marching back in. A little low on metal. Let's just focus on getting the replacements out. Replacement trucks. 7 replacement RPGs needed. Yeah. Yeah, construction went pretty well. I don't want to use any more of the metal because I think that's what where the delays might have come from. The next place to probably build metal would actually be to run the rail line down there, I think. And I don't think we have the metal to do that run yet. Plus, right now the supplies are apparently green, so we'll just assume it's good enough for the moment. Push that one forward. No, not really. Push that one a hex forward, and not one. Okay. Production's going well, and again, victory point-wise, we think we're now up 16, 17, 19. We're up 19. So not quite where we need to win, but we're getting a lot closer, and it may have moved a little bit more this turn. We don't have enough political power this turn because we had to hire leaders. We'll hire a couple in case we take some military casualties.
Copy that.
To attempt another expansion of the rebels. The rebel territory does appear to be looking like it's in decline. Though we did give them more troops, so maybe they'll show a resurgence. We'll see. Oh, one thing I might do is we do have new model fighter bombers ready to go. So let's raise a formation of those new fighter bombers. They're not necessarily going to be that much better, but they got a bigger range. Fighter bomber. Some of the drill royals are 2s. One match of those. And they won't be able to participate this turn, but they'll be able to participate next turn. These guys, in theory, I think have the range to strike at the airfields with the fighters. So let's go ahead and cycle the turn. Let these 2 turns go a little bit long, so part's a little bit long. We'll go ahead and put a part break in as soon as this end turn's over. So I'll leave you on the cliffhanger of how bad or good the counterattack goes before we get into the nitty-gritty with the opening of this turn. Enemy is still withdrawing in most sectors. Enemy to some degree does recognize it is not in a good position. Okay, they managed to break out of the encirclement there. Airstrike 1. Actually airstriking the motorized units. I didn't see exactly how badly that went for us. Oof. They destroyed the subservient AI walker we had there. And this is where we're going to leave you. That wasn't necessarily a great end turn for us, though I think the turn itself probably went a little bit better for us, so it's a yin and yang going on there. So until the next part, if you're watching on YouTube, there will probably be another part up tomorrow. Unless the video keeps going, like if we load the turn and the game ends, then I'll pin that onto this video. But there'll probably be another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I hope you're all enjoying. I'm going to take a short break to stretch the legs and sip a little bit of tea, and then we'll get right back into it. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.